also known as the Results Queen, and I welcome you today to Get More Results. We are today on a field trip. We actually came to one of my very good friends, Lisa Rangel. Hello, say hello, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm good.
So happy you're here.
Thank you so much for having us today. So as you know, the Get More Results show helps you get more results in both business and in life. And today I'm going to have Lisa talk all about her company and how she was able to get to where she is today, because I think it will be very helpful for those of you who are watching. So Lisa, will you tell us a little bit about you and your story?
I have a business called Chameleon Resumes. We're an executive resume writing and job search consultancy firm, and we work with executives across all industries, helping them land their next position faster. And I started 9 years ago in 2009. And
what? The fact that you run an amazing business.
I run an amazing business.
There you go. That's exactly what you're supposed to say. I run an amazing business. All right. So I'm going to ask the first question. How do you help people get jobs faster? Because you just said that we do it faster. How do you do that?
We do it. We help them do it faster because basically we find that achieving accomplished executives have gone through their 15 to 20, 25-year career, and they've been promoted, they've been recruited, they've been sought after, and then they find themselves in an upper echelon of their career where they need to all of a sudden do an active search, and it's not a passive approach any longer. And so they find themselves, they don't really know how to do that because they never had to before. Uh-huh. So typically, if they're not using networking techniques, they're relying too much on job boards or too much on third-party recruiters, it takes them longer. And we help them repivot their approach and their strategy, so they're using tactics that actually land their next position faster because they're not dependent on passive approaches anymore.
Oh, I like that. Passive approaches. I've never heard of that before. That's pretty freaking good. Is that a terminology you came up with?
Not particularly, no. In recruiting, I was a recruiter for 13 years before I opened my company in 2009. And passive recruiting is when we always would go out and find qualified candidates who were not actively looking because they were happily employed, they had a great background, but we would go out and seek them, tell them about the positions we were working on, because we knew that they would be a possible fit as a better advancement tool or advancement path for them. And so in walking them through why this was a good position, we would essentially find someone who was very well qualified, very well positioned for this next move, but they didn't know about it. And they didn't even know that they would want to look because they were happy. So hence they were a passive candidate.
Ah, okay.
I can't take credit for the term.
Well, I never heard of it before. Now you've heard of it too. So my next question, what are the top 3 mistakes that people make when they are looking for a job?
The most common job search mistakes that I see are candidates will be too dependent on job boards. And
so like Monster,
Indeed, Monster, Indeed, Career Builder, or right. If it's in IT, Dice, Media Bistro. There's right. Many industry-specific ones, but basically just waiting for job postings to put up the right job. The second mistake I would say that I see people make is that they are too dependent on third-party recruiters. They're really just hoping somebody's going to call them, magically going, I have the right job for you. And, while it works occasionally, right. What people don't realize is only 10% of hires happen through third-party recruiters. So
really?
Only 10%, 10
wow.
15%, but I'd say even closer to 10. And the third mistake that I see people make is they let their network atrophy. They're too busy working, they're eating at their lunch at their desk, they're trying to show that, they're working really hard. And this is at the executive level, at the middle management level, not just at the staff level. And when they find themselves all of a sudden needing to look for a job, maybe there's a merger and acquisition that puts them in the wrong side of it, or a new management team comes in and they're on the wrong side of that, or a company decides they're going to move and they don't want to move with the company. I mean, the reasons are endless. But if they find themselves all of a sudden having to look for a job when they weren't expecting to, they realize they haven't been maintaining their network, and their network is, somewhat small or neglected. And now not only are they charged with finding a new job, they're trying to, develop their network at the same time, and they kind of feel a little cheesy. They finally, they haven't reached out to somebody this whole time, but now that they're reaching out, it's because they need something. So it's doable, but it's just more difficult. And if you can maintain your network the whole way through. Remaining employable nowadays, in terms of mistake number 3, I would say is not less about staying in a job for 25 years and getting the gold watch. Remaining employable nowadays is defined as being able to find a similar or better job quickly when you need to, and it's about remaining employed is the new employability.
Wow. And is that a term that you can work to?
Definitely not a term, but a concept that we really want job seekers at all levels, although we tend to cater to the executive, but all job seekers should really adopt that mindset about not trying to stay in a job forever, but trying to just always be able to find a new, equal, or better job when you need to in a moment's notice.
So then if I have that mindset, because that's a real mind shift for people.
It is. Most people are looking for, when they view stability, they're waiting for a company to provide that stability for them. And really, employment stability in today's marketplace is about a candidate remaining employable. It's about remaining in demand. It's about being able to find something quickly. And as candidates, we need to depend on ourselves to remain employable as opposed to depending on a company to keep us employed.
So then, okay, this is a mind shift. I know for me.
It is. It's a mind shift.
And I believe it's for our audience as well. So then because I think to myself, I'm a busy mom, I'm going to job, I got to take care of everything in my life. And this could be true for men too. It's not just for women.
It's really everyone.
Right? It's really everyone. I'm so busy. I got a lot of stuff to do. How do I constantly then remain employable? Like, what are some tips or tricks? Should I be doing it weekly, monthly, yearly? Is there some things I should be doing?
So I created a podcast in January 2017 called Pretend You're Fired Today. And it's really adopting that mindset, not in any, negative, self-fulfilling prophecy that you get fired because you're walking around paranoid. It's not about that. But the story comes from a friend of mine having it happen to her, and she wasn't expecting it. And she gave me the advice, pretend you're fired today. Make a list of everything you would do as if you were let go today unexpectedly. Get your resume done, get your LinkedIn profile updated, reach out to former coworkers, see what they're up to. She's like, make a list of everything you would do if you were fired today, and then just make it a to-do list. And do it weekly, monthly, do something, on a regular basis. Call prior coworkers, call people from college, reach out to people in your industry, make new connections, sort of like the kid advice, make new friends, go to conferences and do things proactively that will help you not only do your job better currently. You don't have to compartmentalize this, that, it's my job search versus what I'm doing at work. Making those connections will help you do your job better, but it will also help you remain employable. So it's pretendyourfiredtoday.com.
I love that. Pretendyourfiredtoday.com. Go listen to the podcast and pretend you're fired today and what you have to do. I love that. Yeah. So it's almost like every quarter, if you made a list, you would keep yourself updated.
Yeah. I mean, it can be as simple, you have to eat lunch, right? It can be as simple as,
well, we're here with lunch.
We're going to have lunch with Lisa.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's as simple as, if you're going to eat lunch, don't eat it at your desk. Ask somebody to go out with you from your job, from a coworker who left and is still in the same town. If you're virtual, I've had people say, well, I work virtually. How am I supposed to do that? Skype with someone and eat lunch together while you're looking at computers, kind of like how you're looking at the two of us now. So you're lunching with us maybe.
That's correct.
But it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be very contrived. It can just be something as simple as, on your way to work, you call a coworker you haven't talked to. Maybe they're in a different department you don't interface very much with, and you call them on your way to work from the car, being safe, of course, driving. And
because you don't want to be like, crash!
Right, no crashing.
No.
And calling them on the way to work and just saying, hi, we haven't spoken in a while. I just wanted to catch up with you. I was, working on a project the other day, and it made me think of you. And I was just like, hey, I haven't talked to Steve in a while. So I thought I'd call Steve. Call me back when you can. That's it. Even if they don't call you back, you've put a thought in their mind that you're thinking of them, and it keeps you in their mind for that moment. So you're reducing the time between your conversations, even if they don't call you back. So messages are just as equally as important as conversations.
Really? So it's almost like you're putting like money in the bank to be employable.
It's money in the
bank. When you
bank.
just send a message to someone like you haven't seen in a long time. So like, for example, I was thinking about my college roommate the other day. I haven't spoken to him in years, but I think about him a lot. I could just send him a little note, say an email.
You can send him an email,
or a text. Or just call him on the phone and say, hey, Neil, what's going on? And then I put some coins in the bank. And then if I ever needed to be employed, I could call him up.
Exactly. And we're in a Facebook world, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We can feel like we know all about somebody's life without ever talking to them based on what they put up. So view your text, your message, your tweet, even if they don't respond back, you've given them an update that they've read and now know that you've been thinking of them. So, it's almost like a personalized Facebook post, right, to somebody. And they may not call back, but they'll say, oh, you know what? Jean texted me once the last 3 months once a month for the last 3 months. So when I call her back now, it's going to be as if we spoke yesterday, even though we haven't spoken for 3 months.
So then does people feel odd then if I reached out to Neil, hi Neil, how are you?
It's coming, Neil.
Yeah, it's coming. So is it weird, like then if I reached out to Neil but I've never spoken to him and I go like, hey, and now I'm looking for a job, do I feel kind of weird about that?
I think it's just a matter of how you handle it. If you've texted 3 times, Neil hasn't emailed back or called back, you can, and they were very open. They didn't have a call to action. They didn't have like a pressing moment expressed in the message. It was just touching base. If you on the 4th message say, hey, I've been reaching out to you. I know we haven't been able to connect yet, but I'm actually calling now because it's a little bit more specific. I was hoping I can get your help or your insight on something. When you get a minute, knowing that it's a little bit more time sensitive and not just a regular check-in, I would welcome, if you can, I would be open for you to call me back if you get a minute. And that's it. So you need to be more specific if you want them to call you back and help you. And you can be polite about it. You can still leave it open-ended. Realize they may not still call you back. So that's why you got to call others. It's about, keeping that, not to use a sales terminology, but it's like keeping the pipeline full. So you can't rest it all on Neil's, shoulders, because that wouldn't be fair.
It's almost like the bouncing ball theory. Like I always call it the bouncing ball. Just move on to the next ball as you bounce along. Right? Yeah.
If your intention in the call has changed, just be, more specific.
But I think when you brought up a really good point, Lisa, is about helping. Because I think most people feel like no one really wants to help. And now I'm saying like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Who do you know? And then they feel weird about that because then I have to explain why I have to look for a job and what's going on. It's a bad, reflection on me. The reality is that I think people who are in your network are in there because they want to help you.
They typically want to help. Genuinely, people want to help. And even if they don't call back, it's, I firmly believe that people aren't sitting there going, I don't want to help her. It's not that. They're busy. Maybe they feel like they can't, so they don't call. Or, it's sort of like they don't want to say they can't help. So it's human. I focus on the people who do call back. Don't worry about the people that don't.
That's a good tip, too.
And people are just busy and they may not be able to or have the time. But if you've called 10 people and 3 people call you back, focus on the 3. Don't worry about the 7.
Well, but so many of us worry about the 7 and not about the 3.
Yeah, you got to worry about the 3. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and we're also so worried about what people are going to think about us. But the fact is that we could just focus on people being helpful.
Focus on people being helpful and focus on the fact that this is human. Everybody, even if they're not currently in a situation, has been or will be in a situation. Nobody is immune from losing a job, feeling shaky in a job, being unhappy in a job. This is like a human condition that we all share in common. And so, it's just a matter of how you bring it up. If you're whining and complaining and you can't believe that this happened to you, people might feel like they can't, they don't want to step into that tornado and help you.
Right.
But if you're open and you use it as a growth experience and you're like, okay, this is what happened. I'm going to make the best of it. And this is what I'm looking for. People are going to want to be around positive energy going through an adverse situation. And so, just be positive about it. Not that you can't be human about it, but there's no shame around it because it happens to people. It just happens to people. And even when you're interviewing and talking through your network about what's going on, I'm a firm believer that everybody's got baggage and drama that they're bringing into a networking conversation or an interview. I think the people that handle it most diplomatically, humanly, but vulnerably typically win. The ones that are trying to hide it and going into shame about it. And then not to diminish people's feelings because it's a real feeling.
No, absolutely.
But if you don't work through it, that's where it can, people tend to sometimes shy away because they don't want to pass on negativity. They want to refer people who are positive and handling it in the best way they can in a positive way.
Well, that's another interesting point that you brought up because you said that most of the people that you work with are people who are upper echelon executives who probably never had to do a job search.
Not an active one. They've either been sought after, promoted,
right,
recruited,
So this is a real growth moment for them.
It's humbling. It's really humbling to all of a sudden be here and then realize I have to go, sometimes they feel like they're peddling their wares again. I can't believe after all these years I have to go, dial for dollars and call and, pound the pavement. And, you can use whatever analogies you want, but none of us are immune to having to sell ourselves. And that's really what it comes down to. And sometimes it's an easier transition than others, but 70% of hires happen through employee referrals, social media connections, and personal contacts, generally speaking.
Wait, say it again. Do it.
70% of hires happen through employee referrals, social media connections, and personal contacts.
Really?
And recruiters, hiring managers, if they can find the person through those, tactics, those channels, awesome, right? If they can't, then they post the ad. Then they go to the third-party recruiter if budget allows. So if you find yourself only focusing on job boards and third-party recruiters, you're dealing with kind of like the really hard-to-fill jobs that are publicly posted that everybody's applying to. So it makes it very difficult. So if you can, and the better jobs are typically filled through networking because it's only the harder jobs that get posted. So you need to network and you need to maintain your network because it's easier to get hired that way. Better jobs are available that way. And you can tap it when you need it as opposed to just start applying to job boards when nobody knows you and you really need a job. That's like the worst scenario ever.
Well, that's one of the reasons why you have to pretend you're fired.
Pretend you're fired today.
Right. And go figure that out. So then what are some of the growth moments that you've seen with the people that you've worked with?
That's a great question. I would say some of the growth moments is that people realize they can do it. They didn't think they could, which is really interesting to me because these are incredibly educated, accomplished people that have done some incredible things throughout their career. And then like simply picking up the phone and just asking for help sometimes seems, for themselves. They can ask for help in their business and everywhere else and delegate. But when it comes to just their own personal needs, that's funny that they sometimes can't think. They think they can. It's not uncommon, and I'm not knocking it. I can't say that I haven't felt it myself.
Because I've been that way. Sometimes it's very hard to ask for help, and you kind of say,
but they think they can do it, so that's a growth moment. I think they realize that people are more willing to help, and I think the real growth moment for a lot of people who've always helped others is that they're worthy of help, and they don't realize that they're worthy of help, and so that's half the reason why they realize they didn't ask.
Wow, how do you become worthy of help?
Just ask.
Just ask. Like, just do it.
Just do
ask.
It, right? Nike, just do it. Give credit where it's due.
Yeah. Well, okay. There you go. Now you just have to ask. Because I think one of the things that really is hard is for people to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now we know that we have to stay employable, right? We have to act like we've been fired. We have a list of things we should be doing maybe one thing once a week, right? We also know that we have to keep our network going.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to reach out to the Neils of the world, which is very important. Is it weird if you start to think about, well, I work at this job now and I want to move to that job? Like, is it weird to start planning for the next job?
Absolutely not. If your career advancement path doesn't exist at your company, and it doesn't have to be any negative reasons, it just may not exist, or maybe you don't share the mindset of the management, and, they don't want you to be a part of the upper echelons, you don't want to be a part of the upper echelons. There could be many reasons why the path to advance your career doesn't exist at your current company. Then be proactive about it. Don't wait for someone to just call you saying, hey, I have this job and you look like you might be a fit. And that's awesome when you can get recruited. But the bottom line is that recruiter doesn't work for you. Their job is not to find you a job. Their job is to deliver a product, that being you, to their client. The illusion is that they're finding you a job, but really all they're doing is delivering a product to their client. So, but again, only 10% of hires happen that way. So do you want to leave your career to chance and just wait for people to call you, or do you want to be more proactive about it?
Well, what's interesting is that, and I'm sure you've experienced this, and I'm sure you have too, because I can remember the days when I was working in corporate America, and there would be that one day where like the straw broke the camel's back, and I'm like, oh, I hate this job, right? Those days. Yeah. And then I'd wait by the phone for someone to call me. But it seems to me when you have those days at work, that's the days that you should pick yourself up and start doing this employability thing, right?
Those are days, and honestly, if you can muster up 5 minutes, even on days you're happy.
Really?
Because one, your energy will be better. And you're just talking to touch base. You're not calling to say, hey, I might be looking for a job today. Or hey, I might be looking for a job in 3 months. Like, you're just like, hey, what's going on with you? I haven't talked to you in a while. What are you working on? What can I help you with? I talked to a colleague this morning, And we were just literally just like catching up. We hadn't talked in a couple of months, and in talking like 30 minutes into the call, and the calls don't always have to be 30 minutes. I don't want you to panic and go, oh my God, I don't have 30 minutes. But we just started talking, thinking we talk for 5 minutes, and then 30 minutes later, we realized we can actually like do a small project together, and we're going to talk about it again next week. And I hadn't talked to him in 2 months, and I had no idea that we would do this project. So it just came out of the conversation. I think it's just a matter of being open, and it simply started by just saying, hey, I haven't talked to you in a couple of months. What are you up to?
So it's really easy.
It really is easy, and it doesn't have to be hard. And sometimes it is just 3 minutes. You know, I've talked to him before in the past. We've known each other for years, and sometimes it's, you're good, I'm good, we're good, everything's good, great. Talk to you in a couple of weeks. Let me know if you need anything. That's it. But it's just, it's a contact. It's a contact. It removes it, or it reduces the length of time between connections or between conversations when one of us actually may need something. And so it makes it less awkward.
It does. Well, it sounds to me like the consistent contact is really important. Consistent contact.
But here's the thing. Let's just say you're really great, you know, earnest about wanting to do this, and you make your calls, and you're like, oh, you put it on the calendar in 2 months, call him again. And let's say you don't, right? Let's say it happened, you know, and then you're like, okay, I'll move the call, I'll call him tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes another month. And before you know it, it's 6 months, right? They could have called you in 6 months. They didn't either. So it's not all resting on you, right? So, but you say you call in 6 months and say, oh my God, hey, what's up? I can't believe I meant to call you 4 months ago. I'm calling you now. You know, what's going on? Like, let's call it. Just pick up where you left off. Like, there's no perfection about this. Don't think because you didn't call in the 2 month period and now it's 6, well, forget it. It's not worth it. I'm not going to do it. Like, don't, just pick up where you left off. That's it. Because most likely they're going through the same thing. I can't believe I didn't call Jean 4 months ago when I should have. And
well, think about how long it took me to come to have lunch with you. So,
exactly. So just the key is forward is forward. That's it.
I love that. Forward is forward. Write that down. Forward is forward.
Didn't even know that was going to happen.
I love that.
See?
That's a great line. Forward is forward. Write it down. It's important. All right. So we only have a couple more minutes left, but let's talk about resumes for a moment.
Yeah.
What are the mistakes that you've seen on people's resumes?
Resumes, and I'm going to lump in LinkedIn profiles in that, if you don't mind.
Sure, I love that. People, well, you know what? The LinkedIn profile is important because it's part of the employability.
Yeah, it's part of the employability. The resume is sort of your proactive approach, marketing material approach. When you're sending it to people, LinkedIn is what you need for people to be able to find you. So it's more of a passive approach. I'd say the mistakes that people make with these career marketing documents are there's sort of like a field of dreams, you know, element or assumption to it. They think like, well, I have a resume, I built my profile, everything should just come now. It's not, that's not how it works. Like it's like if you have a business card, right? You have a business card?
I do. Actually.
Does the business card itself bring you business?
No, but
it's what you do with the business
card.
I
actually thought if I built a LinkedIn profile, they would come,
right? No, there's no field of dreams. No field of dreams. So, you know, same with a business card, right? Just because you have a business card doesn't bring you business. It's what you do with the business card that brings you business. It's the same thing with resumes, with profiles, with executive bios, whatever it is. You need to have it. You need to look polished. You need to look contemporary. But just because you have it doesn't mean the jobs are rolling in. You still have to work it, which is what we've been talking about for the rest of the, you know, the prior parts of the conversation. I'd say another mistake that people make is they want the document to interview for them. And the document really, it's the main goal of having a resume or a profile is to get you the interview. You don't want to cram everything you've ever done into it because it's, you know, the resume and the LinkedIn profile is not supposed to get you the offer.
But there's people think it does.
Yeah, and they get really hung up on everything has to be in there. And what if it's not in there? And what if they want that and I don't have it in there and they don't call me? It's not going to get you the offer. You need to just get the interview with it. And, you know, and speak to that. I'd say another mistake people make is they try to be all things to all people in these documents, trying to be all encompassing and open-minded and broad. And the bottom line is it's like a marketing document. You need to be specific. You need to pick a lane. You can't drive in 3 lanes. You can only pick a lane. And then people will offer you other items to discuss, but if you're a CFO, then be a CFO. Don't be a CFO
and an operations
person, and you know, well, I did sales. I went on sales calls, so I can do sales.
And human resources.
Yeah, like you can't be everything. You got to pick a lane and then market yourself based on that one specific niche. There's so many other mistakes. You don't have a lot of
No, okay. There's two more, like 2 bonuses.
All right.
We
So
have
we have 2 more. Okay. So 2 bonus mistakes with resumes and whatnot is, let's see. And of course, now I put myself on the spot.
It's okay. You don't have to.
I'll edit this out.
I would tell you that one thing that I have to say is when people put objectives on the resume, I think it's very limiting.
That's a great point. So another mistake is they put objectives, and objectives, old school objectives, are really all about the candidate, right? Like, I want training, I want a place to develop, I want a place, and that's like good. But the bottom line is people don't really care.
Yeah, no,
right?
they don't.
They don't care what you need. They want to know what you can do for them. So you really need to start off with a summary. Don't label it summary. Again, you don't label your business card, so don't label it summary. Label it with the specific title you're looking for.
Oh,
and then outline your value proposition, how you're going to add value to that company, and look at the target roles look at the roles that you're targeting, the job descriptions, company profiles, and speak to how your skills meet the need of that employer in order to pique their interest and get the interview call.
I love that. All right. So now let me ask you this. I have to write a resume. I might need your help. Okay. How do people find you?
You can go to chameleonresumes.com/contact/us. And actually, I typed that out. I said it wrong.
Go ahead.
You can go to chameleonresumes.com/contact-us, and you'll be able to set up a chat with us, and we can outline which of our services may be best suited to help you reach your goals.
I like that. So you actually chat with people?
We chat with people.
She chats with people.
We chat with people.
So if you want to chat.
My team and I chat with people.
I like that you chat. Just like we did today.
We want to make sure it's a fit. We're not looking, for everybody to hire us. We're not looking, we want to make sure it's a fit and that we're able to help. And that, frankly, we want to know that your goals are something that we can do. And if we can't do it, we'll always refer you to somebody who can.
I like that. I think that's good. So once again, if you want to chat with Lisa, she's going to tell you again, reach out to her via.
You go to chameleonresumes.com and there's a schedule a call button right on the website there.
And then that's how you chat with us.
And that's how you chat with us. So
Lisa, this has been delightful.
It's been awesome.
It really has been. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and so we had to come on the field trip. I'm very happy. Thank you for having us in your living room today.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it. So I'm Jean Oursler, the Results Queen. Thank you so much for watching Get More Results. We hope that all the things that you learned today you'll put into your life and your business so that you'll get more results too. Till next time, I'm Jean Oursler, and that is
Lisa Rangel.
Bye.